You guys trying to get in. I see that there's already 11 in the live stream. So without further ado, welcome back. So we're doing we're continuing the series with the seasoned iron. So I know last year I had pretty much stopped doing the seasoned iron. It was just a very hectic year, and then especially towards the end. So September, October was pretty packed, and then the holidays. It was so November and then December. It was just a huge mess. So I didn't have enough time to make any of the things that I needed to do with the channel and the Season Iron series. So this will be the first episode of the Season Iron. So as I mentioned, welcome back. Great to see everybody here. Cynthia Wesley, hello. Chris McGee, hello. 4Jim44, hello. Good to see you. Rick, who else do we have? Val's Black Cats Rules. And we got several people in already. Mercy B, hello. Good to see you guys. All right, so the title for today is we're talking news, and specifically cast iron news with the acquisition of Butterpat from Yeti. So Yeti did buy Butterpat, and I have some information on that. Also some information with Stargazer. What else do we have? So I'm working with Stargazer on one of their projects. I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. We're talking about Field Company, about Lodge, and a couple other things. So I think we'll give it 2 more minutes. It's 6:03 right now, so we'll give it 2 minutes so more people can join in. And this will be a Ask Me Anything. So whatever questions you guys have, I'm actually streaming from my cell phone. This is the first time that I do this, and I can see the chat here scrolling by, so I can read as you guys type. And so if you guys have any questions, as I mentioned, I can see those here. Welcome, Strong's Adventure. Good to see you. It's been a while. Jim F. Hello, Jim. Alrighty. So as I mentioned, we're going to wait about 1 more minute. And let me grab my, my little news articles that I have and my little notes that I have here regarding all those things. All right. All right, guys. I think, yeah. Oh, the hair. I had it. I usually have it tied, but when I get home, I just, it's a mess. So it is what it is now. I have no production here. Obviously, I'm a small channel. No makeup or anything like that. But anyway, so today we're talking about Butterpat. That'll be the first subject that we talk about. A lot of people have talked or have seen, the news about Butterpat. So I'm going to read a little bit of what I have of information, and you can find this on their website. Also, quick little side note here. Butterpat did actually stopped all their sales. You cannot purchase anything on their website. So if you guys haven't gone to Butterpat's website, they're not listing anything at the moment. So Yeti did purchase Butterpat Industries. So let me read to you guys what I have here from the website. So going forward, a note from the founder. In 2013, we had a question. Why was cast iron cookware that was currently available so cumbersome and crude? Butterpat Industries found an answer in innovation, casting our products with the same refined smoothness that we admired in the old vintage Griswolds, Favorites, and Wagners. And that one, and the one our grandmothers kept in their kitchen stoves. Next, what else does he say? We stayed small and focused on details, launching an uncompromising mission to create exceptional cast iron for today's chef. And you came along the journey with us, discovering how easy it is to use and care for our pans in your homes, at your restaurants, or out in the wild. The folks behind Yeti, here's the important, not saying that, the rest wasn't important, but that was in the introduction. Here's pretty much the meat and potatoes here. It says, the folks behind Yeti have been trusted advisors to the Butterpat team since we met in 2017. So, Butterpat, I know Butterpat was a sister company to also the Cowboy Cauldron. That's why on the Lily, you see the Cowboy Cauldron logo on the underside. And Butterpat just built a lot of relationships with a lot of these companies, and Yeti was one of them. So back in 2017, they met the folks at Yeti. They, like us, built first for the function. Style was a perk. Their advice back then: make a product that keeps its promise. Make the best, and the rest will follow. Um, so let me break that down. I think, guys, I think that Yeti will continue to make Butterpat Industries a quality and elite, modern elite cast iron cookware company. But I think because there's some information here that we'll get into, and I'm hoping that they don't. I have a feeling that they might go budget as well, so they might cater to the cast iron aficionado, or the enthusiast, the ones that love vintage cookware. They're gonna cater to them, but also I think they're gonna get into the market of also entering the less expensive cookware. That's one of the things that I believe. All right, I'm gonna continue, and then once I finish all this, guys, then I'll get into the conversation with you guys. I see all the messages scrolling by. Uh, Here we go. Our relationship with Yeti grew, and this summer, Butterpat started making a Yeti branded version of our Jones skillet. Today, I am excited to announce our official acquisition by Yeti. Not just selling the product, not just selling the product, but expanding our vision and scaling our products to reach new customers. That's one of the key words there: new customers, new audiences, and new cooks. I will focus exclusively on working with Yeti. This is Dennis Powell, by the way. This is the founder of Butterpat Industries. Here we can see that he's also going to help out. He's not going to be necessarily calling the shots, but he'll have a voice within the company. I will focus exclusively on working with Yeti, and we have new designs in the hopper that we can't wait to show you. So they do have new products coming out. Let's see what else. Also, if you have any questions about the acquisition, please use the link below or reach out to people at Yeti directly. Keep those. Oh, and here's a little tidbit that kind of made me sad. So we got some sad news. It's going to be a sad day for a lot of people. Those borosilicate lids, the glass lids, made in USA, those glass lids, I love those lids. Those have to be the most beautiful lids for modern, and I'll be honest, even vintage. Those were the most beautiful, well-designed lids for cast iron cookware. And I don't think they're bringing those back because they're saying keep those borosilicate lids for keepsakes. But we're glad you came along with us, and stick around because there's more to come on the ride ahead. So sadly, I believe that the lids are no longer going to be available, and if they are, here's a little what I believe is going to happen. I believe that they're possibly going to reintroduce glass lids, but similar to Smithy ironware, they're not going to be made here, nor are they going to have that same quality as they did as the original. So the borosilicate, if you guys recall, those were amazing lids. They were handmade, and borosilicate glass can withstand high temperature, and it's oven safe. Probably one of the best ways to make something for. I even think Pyrex used borosilicate glass, and Pyrex was, is and continues to be one of the leaders for glass, pretty much glass anything, cookware or you name it. But sadly, I believe that Yeti is not going to continue making the borosilicate lids. So what they're going to do is most likely do what Smithy did and do what Lodge. Lodge also has glass lids, but they're not from the USA, and that's for me. It's a very sad sad thing, because I did enjoy and I love the fact that Butter Pat was very unique, and the designs were beautiful. So with that, I believe that yes, they're possibly going to cater for the with what they said, because they're trying to expand. Let's see, they're trying to reach new customers, new audiences, and new cooks. So, as I mentioned, I think they are going to make a entry level skillet, or entry level like an entry level line, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. I just do hope that they maintain everything here in the USA, cast iron wise. Hopefully, they don't start selling products that are not made here. Besides the glass, I'm sure if they do glass lids, like I said, they're gonna follow like everybody else. They're gonna get those from China, and I mean it's fine. It still works great. But I'll be honest, I've heard a lot of people from Smithy Ironware, the ones that have purchased the glass lids, they shatter, they have issues. The ones that I have, they're okay. They're not the best. There's some flaws that I don't like. I don't really use my lids to put them in the oven because I'm scared that they're just gonna shatter. I don't want to pick up the mess. So I basically use my lids only to, on the cooktop, whether it's steaming any kind of vegetables or possibly cooking eggs, things like that. Just, whatever you need a lid for, it's going to work great on the stovetop. I don't recommend the those lids to go into the oven. I don't know how high their tolerant heat is, so I don't recommend it. But same thing with Lodge. I think Lodge also recommends, I think they're oven safe up to 400 degrees. And the only reason I think, according to them, is that they have that rubber knob or that handle made out of silicone. So anything like that, I don't think you can really use it in the oven. So I do like that the Lodge also offers cast iron lids. So I do hope that if Butter Pat Industries doesn't bring back the glass lids, then I hope that they bring or they start producing cast iron lids. That would be awesome. So, but let me read some of the messages that you guys are leaving, and then we'll continue. We'll move on. But let me know, what are your guys' thoughts about this, and how do you guys feel? What is, how do you see Butter Pat going forward with Yeti calling the shots? Let me pull up the chat here on my tablet. Hopefully I can see myself here. Nope. I'm usually able to find myself, but oh, here we go. Okay. All right, let me see. What do we have? Rick says maybe make stainless lids here in the USA. That would be awesome if they did make stainless steel lids. That would actually be a good idea. I would like that. Cast iron. Honey Badger says when Wagner Griswold sold to General Housewares, we all know what happened there. Moved to China. Yeah, I'm hoping Yeti doesn't do that. I'm hoping that Yeti stays here and they continue to make the same quality that Butter Pat is known for. But I mean, at this point, they haven't said much. I know for a fact they will start, rolling out some information, but I don't understand why they necessarily stopped the sales of the cookware. I'm sure they're transferring the rights, doing something like that, since Yeti did acquire Butter Pat just recently. I want to say this possibly went in within the new year, so that could be one of the reasons. But as I said, I'm not sure, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Let's see, what else do we have? Let me move this a little bit more. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's see, what else? Hello, Debbie. Let's see. Honey Badger says Yeti products aren't made in the US. Yeah, I do know that. Sadly, they are not. John S says they are going to make junk lime glass lids and cheaper machine made iron. I hope that they don't. I hope that they continue making the cast iron cookware the same way. I'm assuming that they're not going to change that, but they are possibly entering the lower priced cast iron cookware market. So possibly that way they can compete with the other companies, or perhaps even compete with Lodge. At this point, nobody has really made a cast iron cookware line that competes directly with Lodge. It's the ones you see now. They're all competing, for the higher tier, the milled surfaces, the polished surfaces, um, the designs, and I mean the elite cookware, it has been saturated with so many companies now that they're on a whole different category versus Lodge. And I was actually listening to the stream from Cast Iron Chaos yesterday, and what I understood, and listening to everyone's opinion and reading the chat. I think the reason why Lodge has not decided to move into milling or doing things of that, going back to what they used to do, milling their surfaces, polishing them, having them smooth. The reason why is because they don't need to, since they acquired Finex. They don't need to keep, they don't want to change their model, which is actually very smart. They don't have to purchase new things. They don't have to purchase new machinery. There's nothing much that has to be done. They have their company that they purchased, which is Finex, and their elite line is Finex. Finex, I mean, all the things that come out, they're awesome. And Finex is not going anywhere. As long as Lodge remains, Finex is not going to go anywhere. Finex is going to continue going. They're going to make new products every so often. Every year they have one or two new products. They're always working on something. So, I'm excited to see what Finex is going to look like within a year or two. But I'm hoping that if ButterPat, continues this way, I hope that they continue making the modern cookware where it's the same format where it's smooth all around. It continues to be just like ButterPat, um, with the addition of a new line, which would be the entry level or the economy line, similar to what Griswold had their economy line, whether they were well, I think what was the Iron Mountain. I think there was possibly their entry line, the Iron Mountain. Um, I think Good Health, or was that Wagner? What other company did Griswold? Victor. Victor was also owned by Griswold. Puritan, I think, owned Griswold for a bit, and then Wagner, or I think, no, it wasn't Wagner. It might have been Favorite Peakware might have owned it for a while. I can't recall, or Martin Stove and Range, one of them. But anyway, those companies also had their entry level, just like Wagner. There was the unmarked Wagners, and the Wagners with the stylized logos. There were the in the department stores that were Macy's, Sears, um, things of that nature. So if ButterPack goes that way, I hope that they continue, as I mentioned, the same way, and then make a new line, their economy line, so that they can compete with Lodge. Because as I mentioned, Lodge has no competition. They are the only USA company that still has skillets at $20-$25. Their cheapest is, I think, $12. It used to be cheaper 10 years ago. It used to be way cheaper for a 10 1/4 inch skillet. The standard skillet, I think, then was about $12 to $15. But obviously, the economy has changed. But either way, they are the only American-made company that is at that price. So, as I mentioned, I hope that ButterPat does compete with Lodge. That would be awesome. All right, let me read some of these comments. Honey Badger says, Good Health was Griswold. Yeah, and as I mentioned, I think those were technically their entry level lines. Well, let's see what else. Captain Kirk says, was still made in the USA. Victor was the entry level, but it was still high end compared to today. I agree. I think Victor was still a high end. I want to say the Iron Mountain was probably their entry level along with Good Health. I don't, Good Health isn't that popular even amongst collectors at this moment, but things can change. Captain Kirk says, I have no problem paying the money or made in the USA. Agreed. I think a lot of people are okay with paying the money. I mean, if Butterpat has been around for close to 10 years now, I think that they've done so well. They haven't gone anywhere, and people are obviously purchasing their products at that high price, regardless of that price. They're still going to purchase it. If you're into cast iron cookware and you want something that's smooth all around, something that's made like the vintage style cookware, you're going to pay the price. And if you have the means to do it, I mean, I don't see why not. So as I said, I think Butterpat was very successful because technically they were the only ones. The only other company that could compete with Butterpat at that price point was Marquette Castings. The only downside about Marquette is that I looked into their webpage today actually, and they're not producing their skillet, nor the 13 nor the 10.5 inch skillet. So they're still selling the enameled cookware that's made in China. They're also making their carbon steel, which is actually made here in the U.S. But at the moment, Marquette was the only one that could compete and was competing with Butterpat Industries in the format. They were smooth all around, and Marquette has to be one of my favorite pans. Sadly, I only have one, and I wish I would have. I wish I would have bought more. That would have been, or at least the 13 inch pan, the dual handle pan. That would have been great. But as I said, no longer available, and who knows if they're gonna come back and make that. But Butterpat and Marquette were on a different level. But let me keep reading some of your comments. Cast Iron Restore says Ozark is a good competitor to Lodge. Yes, there's the Amazon Basics, Ozark, Mainstays, all these lower priced cookware. The only difference there is that they're not made here in the U.S. That's why I mentioned that Lodge is the only U.S. manufacturer of cast iron cookware at that price point. There's nobody else. Bayou Classic still has their products made in China. Cajun Classic still made in China. Camp Made still made in China. Amazon Basics, as I said, Mainstays, they're the Walmart brand. The Ozark Trail from Walmart, also made in China. So nothing actually competes with USA made. So to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I love supporting USA made products, especially small businesses. And Lodge is not necessarily a small business, nor is it a large business. But Lodge has been around since, what is it, 1896. And they're the last ones. They're the only ones that lasted. So I have huge respect for Lodge, and I love Lodge. I will always recommend Lodge over an Ozark, a Mainstays, or any other, even Tramontina. But Tramontina, I think, now switched their production from China and now is currently making their cookware out in made in Brazil now, actually. So I think Brazil, I'll be honest, and not to be, hopefully I don't offend anybody, but I think Brazil might have better production quality than the made in China product, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Bankster, I just jumped in, so I'm guessing that Yeti acquired Butterpat. Yes, Butterpat is just too far out of my price range. All right. Let's see. If you guys have any other questions, then let me know. If not, we're going to continue moving forward on the next subject. But yes, to reiterate everything we just talked about right now, Butterpat has been acquired by Yeti. The founder did leave a note on their webpage. So if you go to their webpage, they are no longer selling anything at the moment. and they do have there something that you can read, and that is what I read. So if you guys want to read that, you guys can go to butterpatindustries.com and read that, what the founder has to say. So, and there's some information there where they clearly state that they're going to enter a new market. The borosilicate glass made here in the USA is not coming back. Also, they're still going to continue working with Dennis Powell, which is the founder. So, keeping your fingers crossed that ButterPat doesn't go away or the name doesn't get faded away. So, hoping for the best for ButterPat. All right, guys. With that, let's move on to the next subject, which is Lancaster. Lancaster. Every single time I say that city's name, Lancaster, I always have a hard time remembering. I used to say Lancaster, but somebody corrected me. They're like, that's not how we pronounce it here. The natives here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, they don't pronounce it that way. So anyway, Lancaster. I love that company. They are honestly right now a true to vintage cookware company. Their model is almost a direct copy of Wagner and Griswold. And if you guys have not seen any of the Lancaster, they're great products. But let me pull up their information page so that I can share a little bit of information about them. And I got some, well, not that I necessarily have some news, but there is some news out there about them. They right now have a number 8, they have a number 10, and they have a number 12. And the news is that they're actually working on a number 12, or I'm sorry, a number 4. So yeah, they're making a smaller pan coming out, I think, springtime. So as I said, let me just pull that up real quick. Alrighty. Yes, so the new product is their number 4. Looks great. If you guys want to see, they share most of their information on Instagram. If you guys don't have Instagram, try and see if you can find it on your web browser. You might find something there, but they have they're showing the skillet itself. It looks great, and the post here says, we're excited to share a sneak peek of the newest skillet that will be joining our cast iron collection. Planned released for the spring, more details to come. So I love I love Lancaster. They have great products. And as I said, Lancaster has very true to vintage design. It just, if you haven't had, or if you don't have one, or if you've never held one in person, right away it's very reminiscent of vintage cookware. And a thing that I just realized recently was that I have a number 8 Griswold. I'm sorry, it's not a Griswold, but it is Griswold technically. It's a Iron Mountain. So it's an Iron Mountain. My goodness, Iron Mountain lid number 8, and just to see, because it looked similar to my Lancaster, I placed it on the Lancaster, the number 8, and sure enough, I found out that it's a perfect fit. The pour spouts seal really well, because if you guys haven't seen, and actually, just so that I can demonstrate it, let me go grab it really quickly. So bear with me, guys. I hate doing this stuff live for that reason, but let me grab the skillet real quick and then the lid so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Oh, here is the skillet in question. And let me grab the lid so you guys can see. Alrighty, guys, so here is the Iron Mountain number 8 lid. We have one here. And so just so you guys can see, this is the Lancaster. So if you guys have a Griswold lid, whether it's Iron Mountain or any kind of Griswold lid, it'll fit this very nicely. So really quickly, I just want to show you guys what I mean by that. You see this lid here? Most of the Griswold usually have a lip here for the pour spout. So that way it makes a complete seal. And that's actually really hard to, you can't really fit it with other cookware except for the Lancaster. Perfect fit. Very minimal movement, but it seals really well. So when I tested it, I was just like happy. I was like, oh, great. For those of you that want a vintage modern style cookware pan, I recommend Lancaster. Very lightweight. I think this is, if not lighter or as light as a Griswold. The large block, even the small block, same. Maybe this might be a bit lighter. So very lightweight, easy to handle, and I love this thing. So this is why I fell in love with Lancaster. They have great products. As you can tell, also they don't, they're keeping true to the vintage style. They don't have the helper tab. Sometimes I wish it did have something, but not a big deal. Now the only downside to not having the tab and to keeping to the vintage style is that even with their larger skillets, they don't have the tab, and it gets heavy. And but I'll be honest that their number 12, which is 14-inch pan, is not as it's not as heavy as some other number 14s, or I'm sorry, number 12s, 14-inch skillet. So whether it's the Smithy is just massive, it's heavy. Finex, they don't have a number 12. They have, I think, they don't call it a number 12. Their 12-inch is or I'm sorry, their 14-inch is a dual handle. I'm getting all, confused. Forgive me. But anyway, pretty cool find. So if you have any lids that are Griswold or Iron Mountain, as I mentioned, fits very, very well. And it looks great too. It almost matches the aesthetic with it. But that's just something that I wanted to talk about. I'm excited to see what Lancaster is going to do in the future. As I said, they have a lot of awesome stuff. So I'm excited to see their number 4. Oh, actually, you know what? They also mentioned, I think I should go to their website. I don't know if it's on their website. Give me a minute, guys. I'm trying to find, I recently saw one of their posts, and for some reason I can't find it right now. Let me look, guys. Bear with me for a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to find their recent post that they had, but I cannot find it. Sorry, guys. Alrighty. Nope, I never got it. Anyway, Lancaster, they're also producing Dutch ovens. So in the news that I wanted to present for Lancaster is that they're making a number 4 that's going to be available for springtime. Also, oh, I think it was emails. I'm sorry, you are correct. Thank you for reminding me. I just saw that message pop up. So yes, it was on their email. Where is my email? My goodness. Here we go. All right, here we are. Here we are. Thank you. Who was that? Who told me about it? Oh, N2 Skiing 76. Thank you. Yes. All right. So let me read a little bit of that. Sorry, guys. I'm everywhere trying to give you guys all this information pretty quickly. I'm not trying to rush, but I am trying to keep things going. So bear with me, guys. Let me read this email. It says, "A note from us. As we welcome a new year, we wanted to say thank you for your ongoing support. 2023 was an incredible year, and we are so thankful for amazing customers like you. As we look ahead in 2024, we couldn't be more excited to announce some new additions that will be joining our product lineup, which is this, the spring they're releasing the number 4 skillet, which measures 7 inches in diameter, so 7 inches. Later this year, we will be releasing our 5-quart Dutch oven. So they're also releasing a 5-quart Dutch oven, which is going to be their first in production for their Dutch oven lineup, which I'm assuming they're going to have the 5-quart is going to be, with the lid will be able to fit on their number 8, and similar to Finex. So their number 8 5-quart. The lid will be, it'll work for both. Same thing with possibly their number 12, and maybe the number 4, which is 7 inches in diameter, might be the other one. Because I don't think that, I highly doubt, but who knows, if they make a 14-inch diameter Dutch oven, but that would be awesome. Or make the lid for the number 12, which is the 14-inch skillet. That would be cool. So they're planning on making Dutch ovens. They're also planning on making lids. So here, if I'll continue reading, I jumped ahead. So later this year, we will be releasing our 5-quart Dutch oven, the first product in our Dutch oven collection, which will include lids that will also fit our current Lancaster pan sizes. Stay tuned for more details on each product release. In addition to growing our cast iron collection, we will be releasing a new series of wooden utensils this fall. And that'll be in time for the holiday season. So for those of you that like little, what are they called? Stuffing, stockers, stock. Oh my goodness, I'm all tongue twisted right now. Anyway, if you like the little gifts, wooden utensils would be great. So I love wooden utensils. That's what I like to use for my cast iron. I'll use some metal stuff, but I'm not gonna be digging into the cast iron. I'll use metal. But like I said, I won't dig into the cast iron. And lastly, on a personal note, they also wanted to share that one of the co-founders, he is celebrating an engagement. He is going to get married, which is actually one of the persons that, when you order from Lancaster, they send you little cards, and they'll usually handwrite a letter or a note. And I've actually gotten one from Alyssa, which is engaged to Brandon, which is, as I said, one of the founders. So congratulations. I wanted to give them a shout out. Congratulations to Brandon and Alyssa. And also, they wanted to share that Mark and his wife, Rachel, just had a son, Malachi, and they're growing. So congratulations to the founders for, amazing cookware. For their families, and as I said, congratulations to them. And I am very happy. And these are the companies that I love to, support, to talk about, to showcase. The reason being, as I said, I love supporting small U.S. businesses. And the reason why is also because my wife has a small business, and why not make the economy for the U.S. better? So, with that being said, that is the news. So I'm looking forward to the new cookware that's coming out. I don't know how, I'm going to do this with reviews. I got some information that I'm going to share with you guys regarding, future projects and things of that nature. But hopefully I'll get in contact with the Lancaster family, and maybe they can send me some stuff, but we'll see. Alrighty, that was the news for Lancaster. Now, before we move on, do you guys have any questions? Let's see. Let me read some of your guys' comments. That way I can, conversate with you guys. Mercy B says, I was thinking about getting some cast iron for my son. What would be a good one to get for him? Depending. If you guys have knowledge of cast iron cookware, you guys have used it and you guys know how to cook with it, then any pan will be great for him. just because Lodge isn't the modern elite, it's not smooth and all this stuff, it hasn't been milled, doesn't mean that Lodge doesn't produce great stuff. So if you want to start them off, I would say Lodge. Lodge is the way to go. You're not gonna be breaking the bank per se, and it's gonna work just as great as any other piece of cast iron cookware. Um, I mean, obviously, little things here and there are gonna make a difference, but other than that, Lodge, as I said, has great products. And if you don't want to go with their standard one, they also have their Blacklock series or Finex. You can go that way. Um, Me personally, I would recommend Lancaster or Field. Those two have always been great, especially for building up seasoning, easy to maintain, very lightweight compared to the other ones, and you can't go wrong with them either. As I mentioned, also they're not as expensive as some other cookware out there. So Field and Lancaster, those are my recommendations. But also it depends on what how you're going to cook, what you're going to cook on. The Lancaster is a little bit thinner on the bottom, so there is a possibility of warping if you use high heat or if you have an induction stove or an electric stove top. You know, if you want something that's going to last you a bit longer, I would say Finex or perhaps even the Smithy, because the Smithy is probably the heaviest and the thickest. But like I said, uh, you can go whatever way you like. So if you guys what does it say here? I'm going to read it real quick. It says, I don't know is knowledge of cast iron. Okay. I would just say Lodge. You can start them off with Lodge. Obviously, the cooking surface isn't smooth, but it works just as well. And you can get that working as long as you know a little bit of heat control and how to maintain the temperature in your cast iron, knowing to preheat it, letting it warm up, and the what is it to test it, you know, if you to test if it's ready to cook on, you can do the ball bearing test where you just splash a little bit of water. If you see the water uh, just dissipate, and then it's not ready. But if it's turning into little ball bearings, then it's ready to go. But anyway, just, you know, little tips here and there. So I would recommend Lodge in that case if he doesn't have much knowledge on cast iron cookware. But anyway, let's see what else. What else do we have? Any other questions that you guys might have, let me know. Captain Kirk says, I like my Field, but in all honesty, in my opinion, Lancaster is close to my favorite vintage, which is Griswold. Yeah. As I mentioned, Lancaster is almost true to vintage cookware, and you cannot go wrong. They're very, very great designs and cookware. I've never had any issues with mine warping. I've never had any issues with the way it holds seasoning. So I'm very happy with Lancaster. Alrighty, let's see. All right, we're gonna move on to okay, actually, before we move on, I want to read this one real quick. Honey Badger says, Lancaster reminds me of Pequaware. The way Butter Pat looks like the Wapak Indian head design. Yes, I agree. Very, very true. Cynthia says, take your time, Luis. Yes, I will take my time. I'm going to slow down. It's been a while, guys. I'm sorry. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Val's Black Cat's Rule says, will the lids from Lancaster be glass or iron? I'm assuming they're going to be iron. I don't think that they're going to make any glass. The reason being is that just as Lodge and Smithy Ironware, it's not very many companies here produce lids, glass lids for cookware. So it's hard to find a manufacturer, hence why most of production of glass lids are going to be from China. And the only, I mean, it's very rare. I mean, perhaps the higher end model of cookware like stainless steel might have some stuff that's made here in the US. for their cookware. The glass lids might be made here, but I'm not sure. But as I said, it's hard to find a glass manufacturing company that's going to be able to make lids for a cookware company, especially if you're not getting a huge, amount of those being asked for, things of that nature. So, business wise, will it make sense? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's why they don't make their glass lids here, just as Lodge. They get all their stuff from China. But anyway, let's see. Let's move on now to Stargazer. So I don't think I don't think Stargazer will mind that I share this information. So Stargazer recently reached out to me on Instagram because I do a lot of social media stuff there as well. So if you guys haven't seen my Instagram page, please check it out. Same handle as here on YouTube, but Stargazer reached out and they asked me if I could do some product management, testing for them. So they are moving into a new phase of their finish. Right now they're going, so I'm testing 3 skillets from them, 3 skillets. And those 3 skillets, so far I've used one and I've tested it. So far it's done decently with the seasoning. And what they want with these tests is to see how well the seasoning holds. If you guys do recall, Stargazer had a lot of issues in their early production pans with how polished they were. They couldn't hold seasoning, and a lot of customers were not necessarily complaining, but they were noticing that their seasoning was just, it would build up really nicely, and then something would happen to the point where the whole entire seasoning would just flake off. And it was due to the fact that it was so polished that there was no texture for the seasoning to hold onto the pan. So every time the pan would heat up, it pretty much released the seasoning from the iron, and was causing issues. So as I said, I don't think they're moving into a design change. I think they are moving into just a finish change. So as I said, they sent me 3 skillets. I can't show you guys the skillets at the moment. But down the road, I took photos and I'll show you guys. Nothing special, but there is some differences that I've noticed with those skillets. So I'm helping out Stargazer at the moment to kind of help them out with their design for their finish on their cookware surface. So hopefully in the future, I can share a little bit more information to you guys. But I do know that they're in the works with their lids as well. So I know if any of you have been following Stargazer, I mean, I think it was in 2021 when they announced the brazier, and they just started releasing their braziers. We're in 2024 now, so almost 3 years in the making. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was upset at the fact that it's taken this long to get the braziers. So they've mentioned the lids since I think back when they mentioned the braziers. So I mean at this point, maybe 2 more years for anything. So I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath for that, but I know that they'll do good and they'll release something. I think they had a lot of trouble with the production for their brazier, but Stargazer, yeah, they're doing some updates on their skillets, specifically on their cookware or cooking surface. So yeah, they are changing up the techniques, and I'll let you guys know more once I can. But that was the news that I had for Stargazer. Now let's move on to, what else did I mention? Oh, Lodge. Let's talk about Lodge. A lot of you guys love Lodge, so I love Lodge as well. Honey Badger says, what are you seasoning the pans with? I'm actually using a compound of beeswax, grapeseed oil, and sunflower oil. And to be honest, guys, let's talk about seasoning for a quick moment. My thoughts on seasoning is I prefer the compounds, which is the beeswax. I like the grapeseed and the sunflower oil, and if not, another oil is fine. But grapeseed is one of them, and beeswax. Those two, if you have in your combination of your compound, seasoning compound, it's going to do really well. Field Company has a really good one. I think Field Company is probably one of my favorite ones, along with the Cast Iron Chris seasoning compound. He has a really good one as well. And I've been using on and off the Field Company and also the Cast Iron Chris seasoning compound. But I do recommend that you guys, if you guys haven't tried anything with beeswax, give it a go. I think you guys will like the results. I find it that it does a better job in leveling out. I'm sorry, it does a better job leveling out when you place it in the oven. It doesn't bead. It doesn't leave those little splotches, even when you wipe it down. And for some time, I liked using the seasoning method from the Culinary Fanatic. I don't do that anymore. What I do is just place on the seasoning compound, rub it in really well, and then rub it off really well with a dry towel, and place it in the oven. And it's worked great. You don't get any of that beading, that pooling in the oil. And I feel like the beeswax helps it distribute evenly on the surface. So just a little bit of seasoning advice for you. Captain Kirk says, I've used Buzzy Wax for years. Love it. Who was it that said the avocado oil is good, but I did hear that people I don't know if it's true. People say that there's issues with something about the fibrous. It's a fibrous oil, and after some while, it's gonna start peeling just like flaxseed oil. So I quit using avocado, not necessarily because of that. I quit using avocado oil because I found something that I liked, which was the mixtures, which is, like I said, the beeswax compounds mixed with grapeseed oil. So anyway, let's move on, guys. So with Lodge, the only news that I can share with you guys with Lodge is that they're for Valentine's, for any of you that have whether it's a wife, a husband, or any loved one. They are bringing out their Valentine collection. In a sense, they don't really, so far haven't shown much, advertisement for it. They just started releasing advertisement, but it's been out for I want to say about 2 months now. So if you guys haven't seen them, there's some new pans that are out that are for baking. It's a heart-shaped pan with a arrow across it for. You can do brownies, cakes, cookies, anything that you want to bake. It'll be a great pan. I'm going to do a review. I am the I am a moderator for Lodge on their Facebook group. So I get free products from them. And right now, how would you say it? I don't necessarily know. I guess they're a media team leader. Always talking to her. Her name is Sarah, and she just wrote me an email asking if I wanted to choose any new cast iron cookware, because every quarter they send you new cookware, or cookware of your choice from Lodge. And I said, yeah, I would like to get the new pans, which is the heart-shaped one, and also they have almost like muffin pans, but in the heart-shaped mold. So I'm looking forward to do reviews on those for you guys. So pretty soon, hopefully whenever I get those, I will do the review for you guys. But yes, also as I said, those will be showcased on the channel pretty soon. Just waiting for the Lodge to send that over. But Lodge is doing great. Other than that, I don't have much else with Lodge. Just that, as I said, we're going to be doing some reviews on their Valentine cookware lineup, I want to say. But with that, the last thing that I want to talk about is Field Company. Recently, they're not necessarily doing a campaign, but they were talking about their cookware and celebrity chefs that endorse or use Field Company. And I was reading a little bit about it, and there's a lot of information that I liked. I don't think I can pull up the email. It was in my email inbox, but Yeah, I can't pull it up. But anyway, Field Company also doing really well, and one of the companies that I love using. I don't showcase it too much on the channel. One of the reasons why is not that I don't like it. It's just that it gets a lot of coverage. Field Company is somewhat on the same level as Lodge, very well known. A lot of people already know Field Company. It was the company that raised over 1 million on their Kickstarter, so they've had a huge support since the beginning. But they've always been very true to their word. They've produced amazing cookware. I love their cookware, and it's very well priced. It's not insanely expensive. It is on the higher priced, but it's not as expensive as Butterpat Industries was or Marquette Castings. Who else was pretty expensive? I wouldn't say Finex. Finex is around the same price as Field Company, along with Smithy Ironware, same price range. But yeah, I love Field Company. I highly recommend it. As I mentioned, Field Company and Lancaster, very similar, very close to true vintage cookware. So if you guys are looking for new modern cookware, I do recommend, as I said, Lancaster and Field Company. So I'm excited for whatever Field Company has in mind. I do know that they have new products. In a recent interview that I think, oh God, I forgot his name, but from Cook Culture, what is his name? I am really sorry, I can't remember his name, but from Cook, the channel, YouTube channel, Cook Culture, Jed, that's his name, Jed. He recently interviewed the founder of Field Company, and he did mention that there was new items, new products in the lineup, in the works, and I'm sure we're going to hear more around March, perhaps April. They usually tend to release items around June or August during the fall time, so we'll probably see something in the near future from Field Company. One of their products that I love a lot is their griddle. Their griddle is very vintage focused, and it's very lightweight, very similar to a vintage Griswold griddle, those round griddles. And it just cooks really well. I've never had any issues, and it seasons. That's one of the things about Field Company is that it seasons so well that my griddle actually has pretty much turned jet black, and I've used it, well, more than a handful of times, but I've used it extensively, and but it shocks me of how fast it developed seasoning. So that's the one thing that I love about Field Company. And I did hear Cast Iron Chaos talk about Field Company during his live stream yesterday, and mentioning the grooves pretty much, and it is similar to a vinyl record. If you run your fingers across, you can feel the grooves, very minor grooves, but they're there, and those grooves ensure that the seasoning has somewhere to hold. So that's why I feel like Field Company is really well designed in the sense that it's not rocket science when it comes to their seasoning process. So if you guys want something easy that's going to be easy to maintain, Field Company is one of them. As I said too, very well priced, not in the higher tier market, but in the middle. So the entry would be Lodge and the Chinese cookware, the Chinese made cast iron. Lodge is probably the top tier in that section. After that, it would be the middle, which is Field Company, Lancaster, Smithy, Finex. What's the company from Sheboygan? Austin Foundry. Who else is in there? There's so many nowadays. It's hard to keep track. But Butterpat and Marquette were on the higher tier, so those were the high-end market. But yes, the middle has always been Field Company, Stargazer. Actually, that was one of them that I had forgotten. Stargazer, Marquette. Actually, no, I'm sorry, not Marquette. Northern Company. But actually, now that I just recalled Northern Company, they were actually a company that was making cookware from the Midwest, mainly in Utah. Sadly, though, they went out of business. They didn't make it, so I'm actually sad about that. I did love their pan. I have their first edition number 8, and I was hoping that they were going to make it because I did like it. It seasoned really well. It was a bit on the heavier side, but not extremely. And it's one of my favorite pans because it seasons really well as well, similar to the Field Company. But anyway, yeah, sadly, the Northern Company did not make it, nor I think who else? The ones that were making the state cast iron, they didn't make it either. I think it was the American Cast Iron Company who was producing the pretty much the whole states of the United States. I heard recently that they also went out of business. So it's sad to see some of these companies go, and there is a bit of fear in me in a sense about Butterpat also having that similar demise as Griswold. So I'm hoping that Yeti does good with the company, and I hope that Dennis doesn't just let it go to the ground. But with that, I think that's all the news that I have. If anything, you guys let me know. At this point, we can have the conversation. I'll read messages, and we'll see how long we can keep this going. So I'm here. Ask me any questions if you guys wish, and I can answer to the best of my ability. So let me log in real quickly to the chat. Here we go. Hello, Billy Lee Lahone. Good to see you. Let's see, what else? Pete L says, I lucked in a Facebook marketplace on a brand new field number 8 for $75. It is my first field. Its seasoning definitely holds up. Yes, agreed. And that's the other thing too, guys. You can find a lot of cookware on Facebook Marketplace for very, very cheap, very inexpensive. So a lot of people that either got gifted cast iron cookware or they bought it and then didn't like it. They usually resell these things on Facebook Marketplace because most of those people aren't going to go to eBay. The people that go to eBay are the ones that are mostly out there to make some money, make some profit, and they will list the items at a higher price. So if you guys are looking for a good price, I would recommend Facebook Marketplace. One of my friends, Cast Iron Mike, from Instagram that I've showcased and talked about on the channel as well. That's what he does. He buys most of his stuff on eBay, or I'm sorry, on Facebook Marketplace, not eBay. He buys directly from people that just either are getting rid of their vintage iron or they're just selling new cookware online on the marketplace because they don't know what to do with it. So I do recommend that if you guys are looking for something specific, maybe check out the Facebook Marketplace. That's a great place to look. Rock Hunter. This is actually a good one. I like this one. He's saying he has a Lodge enameled and it works fine. Not as nice as my stove, but good quality. Now that you say that, let me talk a little bit about Lodge USA enamel. It's great, but there's always a but. It's not nearly as high quality, or something's going on with their enameling process that I've already had one of my Dutch ovens already chip, and it was just from a very, very minor fall in the sink. So I didn't drop it. It fell when I was washing it in the sink, and it just, maybe an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches away from the bottom of the sink, and the handle hit the sink, and sure enough, a piece of the enamel just broke off, and that was, I was a little upset, and the inside has already a lot of marks. I've had issues with mine, and I'm not trying to say that Lodge isn't doing a good job. I don't know exactly their process. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I do wish that their enameling was a bit like, I wish they would have tested it a bit more. I'm not saying that they might have rushed it, but perhaps real world testing will let you know. And I've done very minor things with my stuff, with my cookware, and I've already had some staining inside the cooking surface. I've had staining. I've had some chips. So it's a little saddening, but I've had no issues with the Chinese made version of their enamel cookware. So their Chinese version, I have a lot of pieces of their their old stuff, enameled stuff, and I've had no issues with that. So I don't know exactly what's going on with their current USA made versions, but something's going on. But anyway, we're just gonna leave it at that. As I said, still I think Lodge is doing a great job with their cookware. Alrighty, so what's let's see what else. Honey Badger says, I like the Butter Pat orange lids, but as far as I know, they were only in the number 5 size. Yeah, they fit only their 8-inch model, which was the Eric dual handle pot, and also their SD, which was their, as I said, 8-inch model. So yeah, they didn't make those any bigger, which would have been awesome, but at this point, I wish they would have continued making their borosilicate lids. Those things were amazing, and sadly, yeah, they pretty much already stated that they're not they're keepsakes. Hold on to them because I highly doubt they're bringing those back. Shadow Walker XM says, thanks, Luis. I bought one for the missus, and the handles are already chipped from just regular use. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Perhaps Lodge needs to hear about this. I don't know if they're listening to people or if they're getting any kind of customer complaint. But yeah, there's for some reason it just chips really easily, even with minor bumps here and there. Something's going on. So I'm not sure exactly why, but as I said, hopefully Lodge will remedy that in the future. Oh, hello, Papa Dan. Good to see you here. Let's see. Honey Badger says the reason I don't think I have a new Dutch oven from Lodge is I never buy anything that's the first year it comes out. Yeah, I would say that's a good motto. That's a good thing to do. They always say not to buy the first generation of something, and I believe that's true because they're trying to work out the kinks. So perhaps something going on in their enameling process that's causing the enamel to not adhere to it properly. So maybe that could be something they need to address, and maybe they don't know much about at this point. But yeah, they need to troubleshoot a little bit, of things here and there. And the other thing that I've also noticed is that I have some Le Creuset. I also have Staub cookware, and none of that has any issues with. I've mistreated them. I've dropped them. I've moved them from here to there on the stovetop, on the grates, on the on my gas range. Um, I've mistreated one of my first one, my first Staub. That thing has been through all kinds of stuff and minor scratches on the underside, and it still it still looks like new, and I'm very happy with the way that forecourt Staub that I have has maintained the enameling. The enameling is still just as great as it was before, so very happy with that. And I wish and I was hoping that Lodge was going to be similar in quality. So I'm a little, as I said, I'm a little upset. Not necessarily mad, just hoping that they will address it, or maybe they don't know. As I said, they don't know much about it at this point, but we'll see. Billy Lee Lahone, does Lodge do their own enameling, or is it done outside their facility? No, they have a new building that they just constructed specifically for enameling. So yes, they do have their own stuff in house, but in a separate building. So they do their own stuff. They also sell their budget version of their enameling, which is made in China, and that stuff has held up really well. So I know a lot of people love their enameled cookware from from when they first started doing that, and that's, as I said, made in China, and that stuff works great. I've had no issue with mine, so something's going on. Honey Badger says, should have bought a burrow furnace enamel Dutch oven. Those things are awesome, but they are pricey, and they always run out. Every single time I hop on their website trying to look for something, it's always sold out. I do have their 9-inch skillet. There are some things that I don't like about it, but I don't want to let it go, so I'm just keeping it. Still, it works great. I use it sometimes just to make some omelets or some eggs, but I don't use it much. And I'll be honest, I don't use it very frequently, and I don't look forward to using it all the time. Just whenever we're doing eggs or omelets, I'll bring that one out. Val's Black Cat's Rule says, sometimes a higher price for a piece you love is worth it. Yes, I agree. And that's same thing going back to the butter pat industries concept that we're talking about, is that we're, it was so successful because people loved the butter pat design, the way they're made, and just everything about it was, it worked so well. I believe that it was very true to vintage style cookware. So a lot of people fell in love with butter pat, and as many have said here on the chat, I hope that Yeti still continues to do the same. So let's see what else. Rock Hunter says, I had to replace that Lodge enameled right out of the box due to a chip. Yeah, I mean, now that you guys are mentioning it, now I don't feel as bad because now I know that it is something that is going on. So I figured it was just mine. I got mine through the Lodge Facebook group as a moderator. They gifted us some Lodge enameled the USA stuff, and that's the one that chipped. Sadly. Debbie, let's see. Debbie says, I've had the same company for 20 years. Sometimes it's a slow connection. Oh, talking about Wi-Fi here. All right, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. But yeah, so just to recap everything that we spoke about today was Butterpat and their acquisition by Yeti. They are making new products. Also, they are most likely entering the economy cookware, I want to say. Their lower price stuff to compete. I want to say, who knows, to compete with Lodge and maybe the Chinese made cast iron. The other thing we talked about was Lancaster. They're making a number 4. So if you guys are fans of Lancaster cast iron, they are making a number 4 due in spring. So look forward to that. It is 7 inches in diameter if you guys are interested. Also, they are making their Dutch ovens. They're also bringing out new wooden spoons to their lineup in the fall for the holidays. So they've already pretty much have detailed their whole plan for the year. We're just gonna wait and see, and I'm excited for their Dutch ovens and the number 4 skillet. So hopefully when those come out, I can do reviews on those. What else? Field Company also doing great. Very good press. I've seen that they've been interviewed a lot. They've been showcased on pretty much mainstream media, and Field Company doing great. It's probably the most well-known modern cast iron cookware companies to date, competing. Well, not necessarily as well known as Lodge, because Lodge is known worldwide. Field Company, I want to say perhaps getting there, but not fully. Maybe about 50% there compared with Lodge. We talked about Stargazer. They are doing some updates to their cooking surface. So if you guys are interested in that, they will be doing updates to their finishing. So maybe more micro textured. I don't know exactly what. I can't really share much information on that either. And the other thing is that they're also making lids. Not exactly sure when, but they are saying that lids are coming out soon. I'm waiting for my brazier. I had that order back in 2021. Still haven't received it, but I'm once that brazier comes in, I'll do a review on that and I'll let you guys know. And I did order my brazier from Stargazer to be unseasoned, so that way I can start fresh. And I'll show the whole process. I'll probably do a live with that. And lastly is just the Lodge enameled cookware, and their Valentine's pans that they're pretty much promoting at the moment. So if you guys are interested in some bakeware from Lodge, they have the heart shaped skillet and also some muffin pans, heart shaped. But other than that, I think that's about it. It's been about an hour and 16 minutes, so hopefully you guys have found this entertaining. Sorry if I went too fast. Sorry if I lost you guys here and there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you guys want more of this. This is, as I said, the return of the seasoned iron. It's been some time since I've done an episode, and I got some more news that I want to share with you guys, but not at the moment. Very exciting news, so hopefully I can share that soon. And that's about it for tonight. So, as I said, look forward to more content. We'll do a live. We'll do some cooking next live. And thank you guys for spending your evening with me. And as I said, have a lovely weekend. I'll be doing some shorts, hopefully. And yeah, you guys take care, be safe, and I will catch you guys on the next live. All right, guys, take care.